Kitsap County Sheriff's Office Detective Mike Grant said, "The linchpin for the evidence was a cigarette butt that was found at the body dump location. In August of 1995, human remains were found in a ditch on the side of the road in the state of Washington. The unidentified woman who had been shot twice in the head, and she was found without clothes but covered partially by a sleeping bag. Her clothes were never found, but her pink hair curlers were discovered near where her body was left. The unidentified body was later identified by her fingerprints. Her name was Patricia Lorraine Barnes. Patricia was 61 years old at the time of her death, and she was last seen 3 days before her remains were found. She was believed to be homeless, a transient in the Seattle area who frequented nearby shelters. She was known by some as Towel Lady, since she often wore a towel or bandana around her head. Police collected 130 pieces of evidence from Patricia's body and the surrounding scene, including some cigarette butts, and they began their investigation by releasing a drawing of a man that, according to eyewitnesses, was the last person to be seen with Patricia before she went missing. However, nobody came forward with information about the man in this sketch, and the investigation soon came to a standstill. But the case was reopened in 2018 after the Kitsap County Sheriff's Office, like many other law enforcement agencies, dedicated a division of their department to taking a second look at cold cases. They decided to send the evidence that was initially collected at the crime scene to the Washington State Crime Lab and 2 private forensic labs. And in 2021, Orthram, one of the private labs, gave police the name of the match to the DNA on one of the cigarette butts that was discarded at the crime scene. Through the process of genetic genealogy, it was determined that the DNA belonged to then 33-year-old Douglas Keith Krohne. Investigators noted that the collection of a wide variety of evidence from the crime scene really aided in the identification of the killer. Touch DNA belonging to someone else found on Patricia's body may not have been enough to tie that individual to her murder. It could have come from someone she lived with or encountered that day through completely normal circumstances. But the combined pieces of evidence, all sharing the same DNA profile, help eliminate any other explanations for the DNA being on her body. Kitsap County Sheriff's Office Detective Mike Grant said, "The linchpin for the evidence was a cigarette butt that was found at the body dump location. The evidence on the body could mean one of 3 things, but when you have a cigarette butt with the DNA and the DNA on her body and on items around her body, it was conclusive to me that we had the right guy." But who was Douglas Keith Krohne? How did he know Patricia? And, most importantly, why would he kill her? Krohne was living in Washington State at the time, spending his time between the cities of Seattle and Tacoma, and he had an extensive criminal record. He had 5 previous felony charges, including one for first-degree robbery in 1984 and second-degree kidnapping in 1994, the year before Patricia's murder. Krohne's criminal record leads police to believe that he may be responsible for other unsolved cases, and they plan to use this DNA match to see if any more positive IDs can be made. According to Detective Mike Grant, they're still not sure how Patricia first came in contact with her killer, and he was never even a person of interest or name mentioned in the initial investigation. Grant said, "How they connected or how they came to meet, nobody knows. Douglas is not mentioned in any other reports as an acquaintance or a witness or a person of interest. I went through all the other tips, diaries, and no one mentioned his name. I would suspect it was a purely random encounter." Douglas would never have the opportunity to be arrested for Patricia's murder, though. In 2016, when he was 54 years old and living in Nogales, Arizona, he died after being electrocuted while installing a TV antenna that hit a power line. Mike Grant, the lead detective for Kitsap County Sheriff's Office, reached out to Patricia's surviving family members after this development in the case. He described their reactions as shocked and grateful that they now have some answers, even if they came 30 years later.